Episode 1 of the series Swamp Stories from Varna Lake by the Anti-Corruption Fund Foundation showed the Bulgarian government signing contracts worth 435 million BGN for the deepening of Varna-West port. Our investigation into the biggest public investment in port infrastructure since nearly half a century revealed numerous grave violations of the Public Procurement Act. Along the chain of illegal actions, officials paid more than 200 million BGN over the estimated market cost in a manner clearly suggesting a corruption scheme. All was done without a clear estimate of the economic benefits of the canal deepening and without any idea of its final cost. Another unknown was whether large vessels would be able to enter the Varna Lake and reach Varna-West, the largest public-owned port in Bulgaria. Swamp Stories from Varna Lake, Part 2. What are the serious technical challenges facing the plan to deepen the port? Let us hear from Spas Spazov, the journalist who first investigated this topic. The first challenge is the Asparuhovo Bridge. In order for the deepening works to begin, the bridge's foundations should be reinforced. This involves building concrete walls on both sides of the canal. If this is not executed successfully, the large vessels will not be able to pass under the Asparuhovo Bridge and enter the harbour. Engineers and geologists say that the Asparuhovo Bridge has structural defects and that its concrete foundations are compromised. At present, the weight of the bridge is mainly carried by the steelworks, and these have been subject to corrosion for a number of years. The bridge is compromised, and the issue dates back to its construction. The foundations have been laid over weak ground, with documents describing the terrain as loose, water-saturated sand. The board piling technology used to construct the foundations relies on columns reaching solid ground. What happened in reality, however, perplexed the construction team. If a pile was designed to contain 50 cubic meters of concrete, measurements showed that only 45 cubic meters had been used. This signified irregularities along the length of the pile. Drills were made through the piles, and the drilled material was concrete and then just sand, mud and sediments. More than half of all the piles are compromised in this manner. At a depth of 18 meters, the material coming out of the drill hole is still weak, wet concrete, 6 months after being poured, and it will never dry out. Why are we raising this issue? The steelworks is subject to extensive corrosion at all the spots where it is in contact with water, and this corrosion has been going on for almost 50 years. We are discussing this issue because the canal is about to be deepened, and this canal is located exactly under the main opening of the bridge. The dredging and the work to reinforce the bridge foundations are supposed to take place while the waterway is being used. When a vessel passes through, waves literally crash the shore. But as the vessel continues on, the water moves back into the canal. Thus, the sand suspended in the upper layer of the water enters into the canal. This could lead to serious issues. What are they? The first 5 or 10 meters of the board piles could be exposed to the elements. Many of the piles are constructed in a questionable manner, to put it mildly. The dredging works will only exacerbate the impact of the corrosion. As per the design of the new project, the canal will be protected by large stones on both sides, and the cladding of the canal walls will be changed. However, while the old cladding is removed, the walls will be left unprotected. This is the critical point in this project. The chosen reconstruction method could turn out to be detrimental, and the integrity of the structure could be challenged. Another issue in this area of the lake is the high-voltage power line which crosses the canal parallel to the bridge. The height of the utility poles, rather than the depth of the canal, is what prevents large vessels from entering Varna Lake. It is because of the power line that the height of vessels going under the bridge has been limited to 44 meters. At present, no construction permits have been issued for the laying of 4 multifunction pipes of the required size, and until the pipes have been installed, the project cannot be executed. Still, contracts have been signed, payments have been made, but it is not yet clear whether the power lines can be moved and how this is to be done. According to Spazov, an additional challenge is the geology of Varna Lake. The bottom of the lake is rocky, and special equipment will be needed to dredge the spot under the bridge, increasing the depth from 12.5 to 14.5 meters. The machinery currently in use has so far not been able to dredge the canal and remove rock and clay from the bottom. And this is the reason why, upon entry into the canal, a vessel broke a sewage pipe running along the bottom. This created an ecological catastrophe and a massive spill of raw sewage into the waters of the lake. The geology of the bottom of the lake is one part of the problem. The other is the, let us call it, strange design of the deepening project. According to the plan, the canal will be dredged, but not the key installations of state-owned Varna-West port. The dredging works will stop at the entry point of the second navigation channel, which leads to the key installations of Varna-West port. Suppose the plan is executed and the new depth of the canal is 14.5 meters. A new problem arises. The key installations at Varna-West are only 12 to 12.5 meters deep. This means that even if a large ship goes through the navigation channels, it will have no way to reach the key installations at Varna-West. An additional challenge, and one which has never been publicly discussed, is the fact that the key installations at Varna-West port are sinking. They already handle considerable loads when large numbers of containers are offloaded and are unlikely to handle additional loads safely. For the key installations to be able to handle additional loads, they first have to be stabilized and then deepened. Only then can the 2 navigation channels be used. However, by the time all the necessary work is completed, a large portion of the dredged material will have drifted back to the spots from where it was removed. And here comes another questionable aspect of the plan. The dredged material is deposited at a waste site within the lake from where it flows back into the water. As per the approved technical documentation, the dredged material should not be deposited anywhere within the Varna Bay. In exceptional cases, the Nalbanka waste site, located within the lake, can be used, with a capacity of little more than 3 million cubic meters. However, this site will not be able to contain the estimated 8 million cubic meters which the dredging works are expected to generate. All the dredged material has been deposited at the above-mentioned waste site. It reached full capacity and had to be enlarged. Despite this enlargement, as time goes by, the currents and other natural processes will bring the dredged material back to the spots from where it was removed. Dredging works need to be carried out regularly in order for the required depth to be maintained. Therefore, until the next round of dredging works is carried out, large vessels will not be able to reach the navigation channels of Varna-West, the largest harbour in the lake. This again brings up the question whether the project is economically viable. Varna Lake and the adjacent Lake Beloslav both form a protected wetland, a fact which raises a separate issue, namely, what is the impact of the dredging works on the ecological balance in the area? What is the impact on the populations of native and migratory species that the sites are known for? And also, how have the people living in the vicinity of the area been affected? Has anybody tested the chemical composition of the dredged material? We know there are large amounts of pollutants in the lakes because of the chemical plants located nearby. In my opinion, another institution should be involved in this process. Even if all the challenges above are successfully dealt with, there is a final one: lack of port infrastructure and comprehensive planning. This is why the deepening by itself does not make the canal suitable for large vessels and is not the end goal of the project. So far, the cost of modernizing the existing key infrastructure and loading equipment, as well as adjacent roads and railways, has not been calculated and has not been included in the investment plan. Currently, Varna Port cannot handle vessels larger than 40,000 tons, and anyway, vessels with loads above 30,000 tons enter the port very rarely, even though it is deep enough to handle them. The economic viability of the project is questionable, considering that public funds are spent to accommodate vessels which can at present already use the port but do not do so. Dealing with all the challenges listed above will cost an enormous amount of money, while the implementation timeframe is vague. It is evident that the challenges and possible issues far outweigh the proven economic benefits. The fact remains, though, that the dredging machines are working and they are particularly diligent in one specific area within the lake. This points to the conclusion that maybe the project will bring benefits, but not for the parties publicly named by officials.